Welcome to Near Falls with D. Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D. Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. We're talking Near Falls with D. Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast. Today, so excited. This is the best time of year. My favorite project of the year, the 24-25 WPIAL Coaches Preview. So excited to bring this to you guys. I have a bunch of different coaches coming on from across the WPIAL. They're going to come on, talk about their schedule, expectations, up-and-comers, their leaders, their seniors, all that type of stuff. You guys know the drill. This is year 3 or 4 of me doing it. So pumped up to bring it to you guys. I really hope you enjoy it, and just hope you enjoy listening to these guys talk like I did. It was always a blast for me, and this year was no different. So without further ado, welcome in to the WPIAL Coaches Preview.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where D.R. and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny, where be at Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
Okay, joining me now on the call, we have head coach of Upper St. Clair, the Upper St. Clair Panthers, Mr. Chris Tarr. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Doing really good indeed, man. I'm so pumped up to have you on. And, of course, Upper St. Clair's got a little spot in my heart. My family's from there. I married into an Upper St. Clair family. We'll dive into that here in just a little bit. But, man, so pumped up to have you on. Talk to me about, the Upper St. Clair program and where you guys are at and the off-season program. And, just give me an update of the program.
No, fantastic. So we're in a really good place right now. When I was hired 2 years ago in August 2022, I was actually given a text chain that had about 8 wrestlers' names on it. So this is your returning team from last year. Reached out to those guys, got very little response, set up volunteer workouts immediately. As soon as we got started, I had 2 kids show up, 2 seniors, Ryan Wells and Ben Cedar. That year, I only had 4 guys return of those 8 on the team. So I went to the administration and said, hey, do you mind if I talk to the gym classes, to try to get more guys out in there? They're absolutely. So very welcoming, opened up. I visited every single PE class at the high school, ended up with 25 guys on the team that year. I was ecstatic that we had that much interest. I think sometimes you just need to put yourself out there and, promote the program and the things that we want to try to accomplish, and promoted the new facilities that we have here, promote the new coaching staff. Ended up with 25 guys, went 4-8 that year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but the previous years, there wasn't a whole lot of success, forfeiting a lot of weight classes, and really for the fault of nobody. It was just a down peak for the program at the time, and ended up going 4-8, didn't forfeit any weight classes that year. And last year continued that recruiting process, ended up with 34 guys on the team, started the first all-female team here at Upper St. Clair. As soon as the state went ahead and voted for it, I went to our administration and said, you mind if I try to get an all-female team? And within seconds, absolutely, go for it. But I also think they thought I was crazy too. We ended up with 17 girls last year, one of the few teams in the WPIAL to fill all 13 weight classes. They were all first-year ladies. We had ladies ranked in the top 4 in the WPIAL. We had one young lady who was a freshman, never wrestled before, came out in November, was 1 match away from qualifying from the state tournament. On the guys' side, we finished the season 9-12. Which is, more than doubled our wins from the season before. Very excited for this season. Right now, I got 34 guys on the guys team again. We have 24 girls on the girls team. So our numbers, there's a lot of success here. I think sometimes the community and the WPIAL doesn't necessarily see what we're doing here. but we're in a much better position what we are now than what we were 2 years ago. I mean, it's really exciting times.
No, I 100% agree. And, you're a program that I've been keeping a close eye on for at least almost a decade now, since I've met my wife and been around you guys. And, I have many, many conversations with John and my dad, my father-in-law, Jim. And it's just, you guys are kind of one of those programs that, it's not necessarily a program where you're going to have families that stay in for generations and their kids wrestle and, the next family wrestles. And, you're kind of building from the ground up, which is, which I love what you're doing, to just try to go out to the gym classes, bring these kids in and get as many kids as possible. So, within that, you got your numbers. Now, how do you build on top of that to try to get, gainer some success? Obviously, we're not looking for, some of the state level guys that years past, but, maybe some team level success will try to compete for, a sectional title somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I think what we did last year too, I've always said this from day one, and it's only been a couple of years, but Upper St. Clair, we want to be contributors to the sport, not just participants. So we had our first annual Mackenzie McGuire duels last year, was a huge success. Very appreciative. Mac's been around the program the last couple of years, really helping us out, really excited about what we're doing here. We had a lot of interest in those duels. So we actually, this year, we've got 2 sets of duels. We've got the Mackenzie McGuire still in December. And then we've got a second set, the first annual Panther duels in February, brought in an additional 5 teams. So, always looking to build off of that, but also too, we are very fortunate to have a really good, solid youth program right now. That's really where I got my start here in Upper St. Clair. My son, who is now in 8th grade, came home from kindergarten and said, "Dad, I want to wrestle." I had wrestled my entire life, had a lot of success, wrestled Division I. I was like, "You're way too young for that road." And I talked to my wife, and, we agreed to go ahead and do it. And I escorted him to his first practice and told my wife, "I'm not going to get involved. I'm just going to be here." Right. Well, after that first practice,
Right.
Yeah, introduced myself, and from that point forward, hit the ground running. And, but we had seen years ago when I first started, and so that was 9 years ago, that the numbers weren't great. Kindergarten through 6th in the youth program at that time, I think we may have had between 30 and 40 kids. So the recidivism rate nationally is like 50 to 60%. Man, if you want 30 kids from K through 6, you better have 100% recidivism, which is unrealistic. So the recruiting, we immediately started to boost up the program. Last year, under the direction of our president, Adam Smith, who's done a fantastic job, we had 179 kids in our youth program last year.
179 kids, buddy. I've heard some numbers from the youth programs, but that is by far the most I've heard.
Yeah, we a few years ago, so I've got 3 kids. My youngest was 3, and he's very, very active. So we started our Little Panthers program, which is our pre-K and kindergarten program here, which just meets 1 time a week for 45 minutes just to get their feet wet. A lot of gross motor skills, but the very basics of wrestling, and that's boosted our numbers up 50-fold. And then those kids, we see a lot of recidivism. The parents like what we're doing at that age. They go right into our rec program. And I think COVID really benefited us, to be honest with you, because it forced me as a coach, it forced us as a program to think of alternative ways to have a youth program. We actually grew during COVID. We offered online classes, and kids weren't doing anything else. We offered it for free. There were nights that I were on Zoom conducting practices from my basement. We had 100 kids log in, and it was just absolutely incredible. We had so much fun. And so then it doesn't always have to be, let's go sit in a gym for 4 or 5 hours and compete against other schools. How can we do this internally at Upper St. Clair? And we've kicked around a lot of ideas, and the ideas so far have worked. So I've got a much bigger pool coming. Now, again, right now, we've got to staff a team to survive now, but in the future, and we're talking some years away, but as long as some of those studs stay with it, we're going to be really exciting. Not only that, we've got 20-some youth females in our program now. So I'm telling you, I'm excited. That's why I'm glad I'm here, because we're winning in a lot of ways that I don't think that the wrestling community probably recognizes right now.
Listen, you're preaching to someone who just adores programs, smaller programs that are, anything they can do to. My thing is, if you can pull someone out of the hallway and they adore wrestling, that I love that. Like, that's my kind of thing. Someone who can get a little tougher, enjoy something along those lines. So, in that vein, or in that, who are some of those leaders that are helping those guys that you're pulling, you're just trying to increase numbers? Who are some of those leaders that you recognize in the room that are kind of another coach in the room?
Yeah, and I think that we're fortunate this year. We've got a handful of seniors, and ironically, all 5 of them started 3 years ago. They were the same exact guys we pulled out of the gym classes who were sophomores at the time. They're seniors now, so they know exactly what it is to go from your sophomore year. You show up at the gym class having no idea what is going to be presented to you. Now all of a sudden you're part of this program, and those are the guys that have been our biggest advocates. Because they liked what we've been doing since day one. They were part of that recruiting process, and they're continuing to this day to help us to recruit and guys that you won't even recognize names. Max McJetsky, who's a senior, who will be in our lineup pretty consistently, but not all the time. Owen Lusk, senior, Alex Tucker, George Judas. Those guys there, they're exactly what we've been about for the past couple of years. You don't have to give your life away or give up just for this sport, but you need to be involved and interested enough to want to grow the program. And all those guys have really bought into what we've sold. So they've been huge recruiters for us, and I think their parents have been as well. It's one thing to get the kids, but once you get the parents, especially the mothers, if you can hook the mothers in and say, we're really into what's going on, we believe in this program and the values they're instilling, that's a huge win for us. And I think a junior to watch out for is Derek Worstel. He started with me as a freshman, and he actually was one of the guys that went.
He pins a lot of guys. He
really does. He's pretty tenacious he's got that body type. He's nice and long and, rocking up those cradles and things of that nature. But he started with me in the youth and had a lot of success. He was 25-7 last year, and we're looking for him to continue to build off of that. But, seeing success like that is only going to help us.
Yeah, and I love that you guys are continuing to build on that. I got to ask, is your heavyweight back this year?
I got the unfortunate phone call last week, and we kind of knew it was always an option that he was going to turn his attention and focus on college football, and he's chosen to do that. Michael came through the youth program, had a lot of success at the junior high level, and we wish him nothing but the best. But our sophomore heavyweight, who got to work out with Michael every day last year, made it to day 2 of Allegheny County tournament last year. We're excited about what he can do for us too. So
heck yeah, man! That's a big deal. Allegheny County tournament's no joke, and you love to see that. So I'm excited to see what he has as well. Okay, talk to me about the coaching staff. Who's helping you out this year, and what's that look like for you?
Yeah, so that's one of the other cool things too. We've been very consistent since day one. Jake Braddock from Blackhawk, graduate of Blackhawk. His dad, Ed, is actually the Blackhawk head coach. He's been my main guy for the past couple years. Last year came on was Vincent Camps, who graduated from Waynesburg High School, wrestled club at Slippery Rock University. And then my third assistant is Corey Del Mastro. Bethel Park grad, was on the team when they won the WPIAL championships back in the day. And then we've got 2 female assistant coaches, and Courtney Worstel and Allie Ball. And we're really building a really nice coaching staff. In our junior high this year, we've got Eli Grape, an outstanding wrestler for Upper St. Clair.
I love Eli Grape.
Yeah,
I've
Eli's in there.
Years.
Yeah, Dom Felino, an Upper St. Clair grad, Jay Pollock. Those guys are helping out Eli as well. They're all good friends, and that's where we're generating that excitement. Those guys want to come back and help, and it does. Between our youth and our varsity, we've got 5 former Division I wrestlers, and not many programs can say that. And we've got really cool help.
No, that's that's something special, and you talk even your junior high program, and as I go through this, I feel like that's the sneakiest, most important part of any program for high school, is like to get those kids. Everyone's got big youth programs, but to get those kids from youth to high school is so important. So I feel like might have something special there at the junior high, so that's pretty cool stuff.
When I think one of the things that Eli's already told the kids is, he was a 3-time all-conference linebacker as well. And here at Upper St. Clair, football, football is pretty important here. Right. So when somebody like that says, and I had success at both. I was a 3-time, all-conference linebacker, and I was a 3-time state place winner in wrestling. Each one of them complement one another. That's only going to help our program.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's, one of the other conversations I've had with my father-in-law and my brother And it's like, trying to get those football guys over to understand how important wrestling is for football and vice versa, which, us as wrestlers, we know that is trying to convince the football guys of that as well.
For sure.
Okay. Talk to me about room games. What do you guys play over there at Upper St. Clair? Dodgeball, kickball? What do you guys get into?
They do a little bit of dodgeball. Coach Braddock brought in a game. He calls it butt ball, where the guys have a softball and they can throw it, but they're only allowed to take 3 steps, and it's from one end of the room to the other, and they got to place the ball in there by hand. It gets pretty intense. We've got really nice facilities. Our room has gotten a lot bigger over the years, but with 33 guys, it gets pretty crowded in there. So it gets pretty intense. And then when you open up the girls' practice, they want nothing to do with games, man. They want to get right to it. They've been an absolute blast. They actually advocated this year that they practice 30 minutes longer every practice, just because they want to get better.
That is so wild to me. Like, the guys are like, can we practice for 30 minutes and do 2 hours of games? The girls are, can we get 2.5 hours of practice, no games?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic culture. Really excited about the future of the girls program here as well.
Talk to me a little bit more about that. You had a full lineup last year, your first year sanctioned for girls in PA. It's something that in general is really, really growing our sport.
Yeah, so as soon as I got approval from the administration, again, went back to the PE teacher, say, hey, let me give this another pitch. And that way there, I could target the females as well as the guys. We're just looking for more. And I had a young lady, Ella Starkey, who is now one of our helpers at the junior high level this year, actually wrote me a note and said, I'm interested. She didn't want to come out and say anything in front of her classmates because it takes a lot of courage to step out and say, I want to do something for the first time. And she wrote me a real long email saying that she had wrestled club for a little bit at Matt Coker Shawwall, and she really liked the sport and was really interested in helping us grow wrestling here for women. And she sparked a fire, because now I could take her to gym classes and say, nobody wants to see a 47, 48-year-old coach stand up there and say, hey, come join us. But when you've got a classmate saying, hey, come join me, and being the first, part of the first all-female team at Upper St. Clair, it hit like wildfire. And then we had 17 girls within no time. And the vast majority of them were freshmen. We only had 2 seniors, Ella and Marielle Schaefer, who's actually a team manager for Gannon University's women's team right now, who may walk on eventually up there. But these girls have loved it from day one. I know one of the questions was, what do you do in the off season? We have to offer 2 different practices. I'm here all the time, year round. We offer a guys practice. We offer a girls practice, because the girls are more comfortable when it's girls only. They don't want to be in the same room with the guys. So we've catered to that. And it's been incredible. It really is. And I think that motivates the guys too, because they can't be outdone by the girls. So it's a very healthy competition here.
And man, that really hits home. And, there's no doubt about that. There's no way that boys can be outdone. Talk to me about your schedule, man. You've talked to, you're going to host a couple duels. You got the Mac McGuire duels. You got the Panther duels. What's the rest of your schedule consist of?
Yeah, so we start off December 11th. I would have liked to dump something in that first week of December. It just didn't fall that way. But we start off with a section match against Baldwin. 2 years ago, we were at Baldwin. We beat them, which was an exciting night for us. And then last year, they beat us. And that's really going to set the tone. That's reality. We win that. We're still kind of in the hunt to accomplish some of the goals that we had set up. But if you happen to drop that match, boy, you're behind the 8 ball real quick. And that's on the 11th. And then the 12th, the next night, we go to Pittsburgh Central Catholic. And then we're home for a couple dates. We've got on the 18th, West Mifflin's coming here. And then on the 20th, Avella is coming here. On the 18th is something a little bit special. What we're doing, we're celebrating 60 years of Upper St. Clair wrestling on December 18th. The girls are going to wrestle Peters Township. The guys are going to wrestle West Mifflin, and try to get as many alumni here as possible. Show them what the program's doing right now and the new facilities. What we've done to the wrestling room here, we've expanded it. Really cool stuff. I just hope that the alumni respond and show up, because there's a lot to show and a lot to be proud of right now.
No, I love that, man, and I hope they do, and I'll certainly make a note of that as well. Talk to me, as you keep growing and taking these, little steps towards, where you want to be. What's your goals? What's your expectations that you have set for this year?
Yeah, so for this year, we'll build off of the 9-12 season we had last year. I think that we've got a schedule where we can easily finish over 500. I think we're going to have guys that should qualify for the regional tournament this year. And I know that some of those guys have lofty goals of qualifying for Hershey. Derek's a junior. I know that's one of his goals. But we also have some sophomores who gained some valuable time as freshmen last year. Now they've gotten bigger, stronger, committed to the program. And really, that's what we're trying to do, really create an environment where the kids want to commit to. And we're really starting to see that. And I think it's going to take a couple years. But you know what I found the interesting thing is I didn't grow up here. I grew up at Wash High, had a lot of success down there at Wash High. And, nobody ever really told us at Wash High, well, you're never going to be like this, or you're never going to be like that. What I find here sometimes is the outsiders, not the wrestling people here, will tell you, oh, well, you'll never be able to do this, or you'll never be as popular as this. Listen, I was not hired to be a cheerleader for some of these other programs here. I was hired to run a program, and our goals are the same goals as every other program here, and that's to be successful. Down the road, we're looking at, Mike Tomlin always says he walks by 6 Lombardi trophies. I walk by several trophy cases here on my way to my office. There's not a single wrestling trophy in there. And that motivates me every single day. My goal is to be as successful as possible, and sky's the limit. I think that if I have the mindset that we're never going to do this, or we'll never have the capabilities of this, then I shouldn't be here. I'm not the right guy. So, I want what everybody else wants. I want to take a team to Hershey for the state tournament. I want to be in the WPIAL finals. I think that this school district is big enough. We've got good enough athletes where that should not be unheard of.
I mean, your football team certainly proves it year in and year out. You guys figure out a way to do it on that side of things. And it seems like you got the right attitude, the right gumbo to get it done on the wrestling side of things, which, of course, I would love to see another dominant team in the South Hills. Absolutely. So with that being said, social medias, how can we follow your squad this year?
Yeah, on Instagram, the Upper St. Clair Wrestling Program. We're out there. We actually hired Vision this year to take care of a lot of our social media outwardly. We've got some really talented young ladies from social media classes in here taking care of within the 4 walls, promoting what we're doing so they get the students interested and getting them to our matches. But, yeah, people can follow on Instagram at the Upper St. Clair Wrestling Program.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go?
Yeah, well, I'm never short on words. I think the first and foremost when I think about that is my wife and my kids, because really without their support and their blessing, I'm not here, because I'm here a lot. And my wife, Gina, has taken the brunt of a lot of stuff. We've got an 8th grader. We've got a 5th grader and a 1st grader, all involved in different things. And when I go to tournaments, and I'm pretty much going every single weekend, either a guys tournament or girls tournament, it's a burden, and I appreciate that. I think the second group are my parents. I'm 48 years old. And my parents still come to every single match that we have. There are probably our biggest supporters. And then, my coaches. My coaches are phenomenal, and the alumni here at Upper St. Clair. My goal is just to make sure that we're, growing a program that they're all proud of, because eventually my time here is going to come and go, but it's the alumni that's always going to be attached to this program that I need to make sure that I take care of those guys as well.
Man, that's a good way to put it. And I don't think I can wrap a bow any better than that. But other than thank you so much for your time. And, I appreciate you. And hopefully I'll see you at a tournament. And, maybe I'll talk to you down the road on the show sometime on a Tuesday or something.
No, absolutely. Welcome to talk wrestling anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.